any of you guys, there's some seats up here in the front if you want to have a seat versus having to stand in the back. There are some seats available up here in the front and in the middles. Call this to order. Hey, can I call this meeting to order, please, of the Board of Trustees for September 26, 2024? We do have some more chairs coming in, so it'll be just a couple of minutes. But if any of you, I see some vacant chairs here and there. If any of you would like to take a seat in those, you're more than welcome to. But first of all, I'd like to just go ahead and get started and welcome everybody here today. This is our first meeting of the 2024-25 academic year, and we got a lot to recognize and to celebrate, so we're just going to jump right into it. Before I do that, Secretary Schuman, do we have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
Okay, and do we have, at this time, live streaming?
We do. I got the thumbs up.
Okay, so I would like to call on the board for a motion to accept today's agenda.
So moved.
Support. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Are there any comments regarding the previous board meeting minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Turn that back on. We've got a lot of action items today that we're going to address later in the agenda, and then myself and President Montgomery have some opening remarks, but we also will hear from David Dakin, who's the Director of Planning, Space Management, and Capital Project, who's going to talk about our Westerns building list for next year, which highlights Knaus Hall additions and renovations, which has been on our priority list for quite some time. The state of Michigan requires universities to annually submit a 5-year capital outlay plan, and as fiduciary stewards of this university, we have to recognize the importance of this thoughtful planning of our physical campus, and this report speaks to the board's commitment to honoring those requests and laying the foundation for student success. Today's agenda also includes Western's 2024 external audit, and Trustee Hoadley will share the thoughts on that. On the consent agenda, we're talking about personnel, curriculum changes. We've got liquor license approvals, especially for homecoming, and also the commercial lease for the geological survey, as well as some financial reports that we will be approving under the consent agenda. In a few moments, President Montgomery is going to recognize and congratulate our most recent group of WMU employees who completed WMU degrees in summer 1 and 2. I signed your certificates last night, so I'm very happy about that. Your commitment to your professional and personal growth sets a powerful example for our students here on campus, encouraging them to embrace lifelong learning and understand that education is a continual process. I thank you, and the board extends congratulations, and we look forward to honoring you later in this meeting, which I believe President Montgomery will announce. But let's give all of the employees, if anyone is here, a round of applause. So while graduation is a significant rite of passage, so is retirement. And this past June, President Montgomery informed board leadership of his plan to retire at the conclusion of his contract in June of 2025. Since this is the first board meeting since that time, I just want to take a moment to thank him for his outstanding leadership these past 7 years. I mean, President Montgomery, you have the full confidence of this board today, as you've always had. President Montgomery vision has truly transformed Western. Under his guidance, our university has become more vibrant, inclusive, and student-focused. The strides we've made in student success are a testament to President Montgomery's dedication and influence, as well as the work of our many dedicated, hardworking faculty and staff. The Board of Trustees holds him in the highest regard and deeply appreciates the transformative work the President has led, from elevating academic excellence, research and creative scholarships, championing diversity, equity, and inclusion, to fostering a student-centered campus focus on providing our Bronco students with a holistic, experience-driven education. There's a long list of university achievements, and I just want to mention a few of them. First of all, and it seems like years ago, but in 2021, the President announced the $550 million Empowering Futures gift, which still stands today as one of the largest contributed for a single contribution for a public university in the United States. And I know we've all kind of grown accustomed to it because it was 3 years ago, which seems like a lifetime ago, but it's still a phenomenal feat for Western Michigan University to have received it. $200 million of that is earmarked for
to us earlier in the summer. The presentation of that final report at the October Faculty Senate meeting, and creation of additional artificial intelligence focused charges to councils. Third action item is centers around Senate interactions with the Board of Trustees, such as sharing these objectives with you, regularly scheduled meetings with the Secretary to the Board of Trustees. We've invited the chair and vice chair of the Board of Trustees to our Faculty Senate Executive Board meetings this semester, and to continue to utilize the meetings that I have with Chair Edgerton and Vice Chair Turfey. A fourth action item is around university identity and direction, and this includes implementing a survey to faculty regarding our Faculty Senate objectives and this action plan, doing a better job of showcasing the university's strategic plan in relation to the Faculty Senate at the monthly full Senate meetings, and encouraging President Montgomery and Provost Vasquez-Heilig to share in those monthly strategic plan statements. And then the final action item is around the value of higher education, which will involve ongoing conversations with shared governance partners on the value of WMU and higher education in general, and to create an ad hoc committee or some focus charges for our councils and committees. The Faculty Senate Executive Board is finalizing some amendments to its constitution and bylaws. The initial recommendations were completed by a committee that was comprised of past Senate presidents. The amendments are scheduled to go before the full Senate at its October meeting for a first reading and be voted on in November, after which the Constitution amendments will come before this body for ratification. During the first meeting of each Faculty Senate councils and committees, the Executive Board approved charges are imparted to each group. I'm just going to highlight an example of some of those charges. One of them for the Academic and Information Technology Council is to charge them to develop and disseminate best practices for advancing shared classroom instruction and collaborative projects between multiple university technologies, including WebEx and the integration of AI-related technologies. The Campus Planning and Finance Council will explore the establishment of a standing committee focused on sustainability. The Research Policies Council is reviewing guidelines, policies, procedures, and eligibility of the Faculty Research and Creative Activities Award. There's a newly reconstitute Centers and Institutes Committee, and we've charged them to develop procedures to support the process for creating a new center or institute on campus. And the WMU Essential Studies Executive Advisory Committee will be conducting its fourth-year comprehensive review of the WMU Essential Studies curriculum program. Those are all my updates, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have. And if not, thank you, Chair Edgerton, for allowing me to address you all today.
Thank you, Doctor. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Next up, we will have WSA, Western Student Association, Alex Kasprick.
I have to really pull this down. Good afternoon, Chair Edgerton, members of the board, and everyone in attendance. I would first like to begin by thanking the board for allowing me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the entire student body, as the student voice is essential to a successful university. The year has begun, and my fellow Broncos and I have had the beginning of the semester whirlwind of many emails, random bouts of sickness, and wait, that was due today? In all seriousness, we are delighted to be back on campus, reunited with our Bronco family. The school year has kicked off with an extremely hot Bronco bash. Even though it was really hot, a lot of thousands, actually, of individuals came together to get some free swag and learn about campus. And last week, we celebrated a huge Bronco win at the football home opener, where the largest crowd since 2017, over 23,000 people to be exact, roared every single time we scored a touchdown, and there were a lot of times. On-campus engagement is also surging, and the Western Student Association and all RSOs on campus are excited to ride that wave. As of this week, there are 300 RSOs on campus, all ready to foster a home for students. Greek Life has already or are preparing for their recruitment, and informational meetings are taking over the Experience WMU calendar. This also means that RSOs are coming to the Western Student Association for their funding. In June, the board committed to a historic investment in the development of experiential learning with their vote to raise the student assessment fee. By instituting a 2-year plan to increase this funding, we have already begun to see the positive effects of this investment. Not only have we been able to maintain the level of funding that was at risk prior to the investment, but we've also developed new avenues of community involvement, experiential learning, and collaboration. We enacted new bylaws in our allocations commission that cultivate the ongoing evolution of student engagement in an environment where diverse passions and ideas thrive. Whether a student organization is a competitive sport, a cultural organization, a hobby-based group, or anything else, this investment allows Broncos to grow and develop in ways that will guarantee that we are among the best leaders in the nation and the world. We continue to see a reinforcement of WMU's mission, so all may learn, through an increase not only in the amount of funding these groups can receive, but also an expansion to the scope of these funds and the opportunities they provide. The most fulfilling thing to see is how they use this funding to truly make Western a home. This month alone, 65 RSOs made nearly 100 applications for funding, which is a new record. Director of Allocations Travis Melson, Assistant Director of Allocations Bailey McPhillips, Allocations Secretary Avery Tower, and Allocations Treasurer Natty Farrell are dedicated to ensuring a smooth process and support for these RSOs, and I am personally very grateful for them. It is not an easy job. Additionally, the Western Student Association has already had a historic month. Our legislative branch, the Assembly, held their last voting meeting with 131 students in attendance in this very room. And every week we break another attendance record. Sam Longlet, the Speaker of the Assembly, is in his 3rd and final term, and the Western Student Association will be forever grateful for his and the rest of legislative leadership's work to foster this community of campus leaders. Last week, Natalie Kraft, the WSA Executive Officer for Governmental Affairs, organized our 3rd annual Civic Engagement Week. With the presidential election just a short couple of months away, we focused on voter registration and what it means to be civically engaged in our community. We interacted with close to 1,000 unique students throughout the week, and with the help of other voter registration organizations around campus, we hope that every student will vote in November. Next week, we are excited to host our 8th biannual Mental Health Week. Claire Westbrook, our Executive Officer for Student Affairs, has been working digitally to give students a much-needed break during the upcoming midterm season, and she will help students be kind to their minds. We are thrilled for the school year to be in full swing and to be back on campus. As the desire to get engaged and the demand for student opportunities soar, WSA is excited to serve these students and support their needs throughout the year. As students navigate through their educational experience, whether that be first-year students to PhD candidates, we will always be there for them. Overall, I'm happy to report that the Western Student Association is in a solid position to serve all Broncos this year, and I cannot wait to come back in December to share my team's successes. Thank you, onward for the brown and gold, and I will take any questions.
Thank you, Alex. Any questions from the board? Nope.
Yes,
Thank-
actually, I do have one
Go
question.
ahead.
Are there further plans to do any additional voter registration drives with the student organizations?
I'm not entirely sure right now, but I know that we really focused on that. A lot of the voter groups that are on campus are like tabling every single day in the student center around campus. It's amazing. They're getting like a lot of people registered to vote from that already. So there's already a push, not from WSA, but from external groups.
And the We Vote initiative is,
Yes.
still ongoing, and we'll have more efforts over the next month or so.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the new president. New president for the Graduate Student Association, Jocelyn Medina.
Now I have to put this up. Sorry. Good afternoon, Chair, Board, everyone in attendance. My name is Jocelyn Medina, if those who don't know me, obviously. I'm the new Graduate Student Association President, but I do want to preface by saying I don't like to say that I'm the only one in leader. My board and I are all equal because without them, I would not be here, and without us, we would not be able to make a difference for graduate students here on campus. I also just want to say thank you for giving me the space and time and giving a chance to really talk about GSA. We haven't been around really, from what I've gathered, about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. So over the summer, my team and I were able to lay the foundation for a graduate student association. It's been really fun because we kind of were able to lay it out, make the roots, see what we want to flourish, but also it's a little challenging because we're really coming from like nothing, right? So it's not like I can go back and be like, compare and contrast, things like that. But nonetheless, really, the experience has been so incredibly fun and really a learning opportunity every single day. There's new challenges that come about that it's like, I would have never seen this coming, but we are ready, we are set, and we are prepared. Just yesterday, actually breaking news, we had our first General Assembly meeting, over 25 students in attendance. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah, it was incredible seeing all these students. We filled the room, we ran out of pizza, FYI. And we're really excited. We are gonna have bi-weekly meetings. I've heard this hasn't been done in the past, so we will see how this goes. I will give everyone updates once I have those. But we're really excited. GSA is just managing a lot of collaborations over the summer as well. We've connected with a ton of offices, health, promotions, career center, lead corps, just to name a few across campus. We're excited to be able to work with them. Again, without these entities on campus, we also would not be able to create these collaborations. So it's truly a work of art when we are able to work together. And our mission statement that we're still currently working on is really just being able to tell grad students, we are here for you, we are here to support you, we are here to serve you and meet your needs. If we cannot do that right now, I promise you, I will get a lifeline to get to that point. And I've told them, unfortunately, I cannot change things from the morning to the day and from day to night, but I am able to create a path that maybe my team and my term won't see, but those that come after me will be able to finish up. And I am incredibly honored to be able to start that up. And truly, it's just finding solutions for the things that we all need as grad students. Sometimes I feel like we're swept under the rug a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. We are here now to help elevate that voice. So I also want to give a special thank you to the Office of Student Engagement because they have been able to really support us in ways that I didn't know they could support me. They also are my bosses, so yeah. But yeah, no, I really want to say thank you to Chris Sly and Valerie especially. They've been able to help us with advising and questions. Truly, anytime I have a question, I'm so comfortable with asking them, as well as the Office of Student Affairs. They have been incredible. Their team in there is also very helpful. So thank you again. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Anyone on the board? Jocelyn, thank you and your team for stepping up to serve the graduate students. Dr. Montgomery, I will turn it over to you to introduce the employee graduates.
Yes, it's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you our WMU 2024 Summer 1 and Summer 2 employee graduates. These individuals strategically balance the rigors of studying college coursework while working their jobs at WMU semester after semester as they earn their degree. We express our gratitude for not only their dedication to working at this university, but also for their belief in the value of Western education and their drive to pursue and achieve their purpose. We're extremely proud of their accomplishments, and we applaud the hard work of these employees who have successfully completed another level of education. As I call your name, if you're here, could you please stand so we could recognize you? So Summer 1 graduates include Christy Chambers, Dr. Melissa Ratour, Nicole Lockwood Womack, Raymond Wang, Kathy Miller, Dr. Abul Nassert, Dr. Umar Dennis, Amir, I'm sorry. Oh, there you are, sorry, my apologies. Madison Brower, and Angela Lavoie. Our Summer 2 graduates include Tyler Marushak, Tricia Priest, Dr. Sandra Wagner, Noah Bennett, Imani Little, okay, oh, sorry, and Brian Jansen. Again, congratulations, graduates. Thank you for your hard work and dedication.
Dr. Montgomery?
Okay.
Presenters?
Our mission at Western is to provide students with holistic, experience-driven education, leading to meaningful careers and fulfilling lives. Momentarily, you will hear about a partnership that's been giving students top-notch classroom marketing experience and mixing it with first-hand experience at a leading plastic supply company right here in Kalamazoo. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sharif Amin, Assistant Professor of Marketing, here to talk about a partnership he developed with the company and his students over the several semesters in his marketing course, and here to share their journey to an incredible experience learning opportunity at Total Plastics International, Kalamazoo, in the WMU Sales and Business Marketing Leadership Program students, Abby Kovacevic. Did I get that one right?
You did.
Sorry.
Thank you, everyone. We had a quick presentation I was not sure if we could show it here. I like sent it to, do you have it here? How do I send it? Okay. Oh. Okay, let's see. It doesn't work. It's maybe too fancy for me. I don't know. Just.
There
Oh
you go.
yeah. Okay. Hi. So I'm here again. I'm Sakif Amin. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'm so used to walking in the class and talking to my students. Okay. I'm just gonna stand here. All right. So my name is Sakif. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Business in marketing, more specifically in the sales program. And my brilliant former student, Abby Kovacevic, we are here to talk about my class and how it's helping my students to success in the industry. So today, I will be focusing on the experiential learning that we've been talking about and the partnership we have developed between Western Michigan University Sales Program and the Total Plastic International, a one leading plastic manufacturing company based in Kalamazoo. Did I click this one? So before I talk about the partnership, I just wanted to introduce the sales program to you. I don't know if you know this, but the number speaks louder than everything. So in 2000, we started with only 49 sales major students, but in last count, fall 2024, we end up with 280 students in the sales program, the largest major in the program. And also for the 17th year, it has been recognized one of the top sales program in the country. So this is, could I get a hand up for this? I'm blessed to be part of this program and taking it forward. So now what I will be talking about is my course, very, very quickly. So the course that I'm talking about is Marketing 4100. It's advanced selling skills development and the partnership with Total Plastic International. So the reason I'm calling this course an experiential learning driven class, because what I teach in this class, it's very hands-on. And I think the last time I counted, so I've been teaching it for like 4 years now, but over 800 hours of role plays with students. So that's a lot of commitment from all the sales professors. So we do role plays with the students. We teach them how to get past the gatekeeper, very hands-on. We have this amazing sales lab at the Harrods College of Business. We teach them how to talk about values, sell values, how to handle objection, and finally, close the deal. And talking about closing the deal, the star of the show is Abby Kovacevic, and I will introduce you to her, but this is a quick snapshot from the last factory visit. So as a part of this class, the student sell a real product of a real company, in this case, Total Plastic International. So last time I took my students to the factory visit, see on the left-hand side, the person who's doing the presentation, his name is Duke. He's the general manager of Total Plastic International, kind of giving students how the factory tour will go. And on the right, you see there, we're getting the factory visit. On the bottom left, I am kind of talking to the students, like getting the pointers from the general manager and how to incorporate that in the sales pitch and in the role plays. And finally, all 4 students you see there, Abby is in this second from the left, but all 4, Haley, Abby, Nolan, and Steven, they're all Western graduate and now working full-time for TPI. So it's a very nice full circle moment, going through the program, selling a product when they were doing the class, and finally at the final day when we're doing the role play, the people from TPI would come to my class and observe, and they will grade, I will grade, and a beautiful moment when they pass a card and say, can we have lunch next day? And we have more things to talk about. That's a beautiful moment, and that happened with those 4 of the students, and that happened with Abby. So without further ado, I will introduce Abby, and she will talk about my class, and also, while still being an intern, how she closed $1 million deal. Wow. So let's talk about that. Thank you, Abby.
Thank you, Dr. Amin. Hello, everyone. My name is Abby Kovacevic. I'm a co-major in the Sales and Business Marketing program in Leadership and Business Strategies. I am so thankful for the opportunity to be here today and for you guys taking the time to listen to me talk about the sales program, specifically Marketing 4100 and closing $1 million deal this past summer. So 4100, like Dr. Amin said, it's all about experiential learning. Sitting in the sales lab, one-on-one connections with your professor, getting feedback on your sales skills is probably the best thing you could ever do for yourself entering the sales world, because I learned how to fail in the sales lab. I got feedback and I learned how to improve. We worked on real sales meetings. It was the real deal. Stepping into the actual industry, it was the same exact process and the same exact steps. I learned how to build a relationship. Specifically in 4100, Dr. Amin made it super clear. Build a relationship with the buyer. That is how you sell. That's how you stay with a company. So learning how to build those relationships and understanding how you can add value to make somebody's life easier at the end of the day. Overall, with the partnership with Total Plastics, I got to learn how Total Plastics works, how to sell Total Plastics, learning about a real product. We still work with that account all the time. Learning it and then transitioning into the internship, I was able to pick a product, and I'll skip to my next. I was able to intern from the experience selling in 4100, and I learned how to cold call, care about my clients, build relationships, and add value. And that really helped me as an intern to close a deal with a shipbuilder that makes ships for the US government. So through the cold calling process, I was in contact with 4 different people at this company 3 months before I was able to get to the decision maker, which really uniquely was his family started the company. So his grandparents started the company, and I was working with him. He pointed next door. He said, "That's my grandma's house." Then he pointed across the road and said, "That's my brother's house." So it was cool to see that whole relationship and just caring for him. He hasn't had a sales rep call on him since 2005. That's a long time to not call on a client. So I saw those needs and I cared about that. The next week, he said I could meet with him in person. My boss and I were on a flight to New Orleans. Building that relationship, I learned so many unique things. How he loves to golf. He has daughters. He has season tickets to the LSU football games. And to this day, I still get to communicate with him on a day-to-day basis, and I had the opportunity to earn his business over the summer. So the full circle moment is the experiential learning in the classroom just really brought it to real life, so I was able to apply those skills and actually see the success from it, which made me so excited entering the workforce. Does anyone have any questions?
Julie?
So how does the pedagogy and curriculum of Marketing 4100 address the concern that we're hearing more and more that degrees will be obsolete due to AI? What is it that you do that's special, that AI can't do?
Oh, okay. So we are getting emails from this AI vendor so many times.
Doctor, could you go to the mic?
I'm sorry. So we are getting emails from the AI vendors so many times that substitute the in-person role plays with the AI bots, and we still haven't done it. Because I think the role plays that we do, hours and hours of time we spend with the students, every single student is different. The way they talk, their behavior, their attitude, the questions they ask, the way we give feedback. I don't have that kind of knowledge in AI, but what I've seen so far, AI is still not there to give very personalized, very hands-on, and very, that makes value and makes the students believe in himself or herself. So I don't think still the person-in-person connection, that role play, that is the value. That's why the sales program, the #1 sales program in the country, and that's why so many other sales programs have moved to bots and AI. We haven't. And if you Google Western Michigan University sales competition performance, we have been #1 in so many different sales competitions all over the country, even outside the world. It's because it's very hands-on, very personal, and we are still not ready to give it to AI. So yeah.
Chair, we did not plan this question or answer. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Schumann, any public comments regarding our action items today?
So Chair Edgerton, we do have a full lineup during general comments, but none regarding action items.
Okay, thank you. So we will now move on to action items, state capital outlay, the building project priority list. Mr. Datkins. David, thank you for being here.
Chair Edgerton, you covered the sort of the state requirements pretty well at the beginning, so I won't waste time by repeating those. I will add that there's quite a bit of input that goes into this process, mostly last spring, where certainly the Campus Planning, Finance Council, the Faculty Senate, WSA, along with going through our process with the Space Advisory Committee and the President's Cabinet. And so that's how we arrived today. And again, I won't cover the state requirements as you have already done so well. So the recommended action is recommended that the board approve the capital outlay building project priority list as provided in the attached, that's the 11B sheet, and Canals Hall renovation addition as the top priority project in our capital outlay request.
Any questions? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. We need to take a vote, take a motion to adopt the 5-year capital outlay plan.
Support.
Okay, roll call.
Chair Edgerton.
Yes.
Vice Chair Turfy. Yes. Trustee Burris. Yes. Trustee Chen Zhang. Yes. Trustee Holdley.
Yes.
Trustee Liggins.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
Yes.
Chair Edgerton, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your team, too. Now I'll turn the mic over to Trustee Holdley for the audit discussion.
Thank you, Chair Edgerton. I have the privilege of serving on the audit committee. It's an exciting committee. The good news is that we received a clean, unqualified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that can be provided in the most recent audit. They found no material weaknesses in the audit this year. The financial position of the university remains strong. The net, with an increase in the net position of about $153.2 million, which was primarily increased by a $107 million increase in unrestricted net position. Additionally, the university has adopted portions of the Government Accounting Standard Board, so the GASB 100, and there was a good conversation about making sure we're planning ahead for the future, including future GASB standards, and making sure that we have a strong internal position as we plan ahead in our accounting position.
Okay, anyone have any further questions for Trustee Holdley? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adopt the audit report.
So moved.
Second. Support. Okay, roll call.
Chair Edgerton.
Yes.
Vice Chair Turfy.
Yes.
Trustee Burris. Yes. Trustee Chen Zhang.
Yes.
Trustee Hoadley.
Yes.
Trustee Liggins.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
Yes.
Chair Edgerton, motion passes.
Thank you, Trustee Hoadley, for all your work on the audit committee. Next is a list of consent items. Does any trustee have anything they'd like to pull off, discuss, questions, not answered? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Chair Edgerton.
Yes.
Vice Chair Turfy.
Yes.
Trustee Burris. Trustee Chen Zhang. Trustee Hoadley.
Yes.
Trustee Liggins.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Wood.
Yes.
Chair Edgerton, consent items pass.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on to general public comments. Do you have a list for us?
I do. We have 15 individuals that have interest and have made prior arrangement to address the board today. I ask that you stay on track time-wise, please. We've got a 5-minute time allotment for our partners in bargaining. So the first will be Catherine Bailey, and then after that, it's 3 minutes per individual. There is a iPad that counts down the time. Please try to stay within your 3 minutes. If you get to 3 minutes, I'll just kindly ask you to conclude. So, Dr. Bailey, thank you.
Very quickly, I wanted to say that we started out this meeting today with them giving you a pretty hard sell that faculty are asking for too much. They've cited numbers that are not numbers that the WMU AAUP accepts. They know that this is the case. Those are not independent numbers that they're offering. I wanted to just make sure you're all clear about that. That's a particular slant on things. We're all critical thinkers here, and I would just ask you to keep your critical thinking caps on. So I am here today as a professor with 30-plus years of experience, as president of my faculty union, and as the relatively new parent of a puppy I will call Buster. That's not his real name, but I couldn't get informed consent from him, so I'm not using his real name. Buster came into my life in May, and this was exactly 1 month before negotiations between my union and the administration began. If you've ever adopted a dog, especially in recent years, you know that it's actually a pretty rigorous process. They're not just giving them away like free donuts, right? So I was actually vetted pretty hard. I had to prove that I was up to the task, that I was willing to take proper care of this dog. Now, I want you to imagine that having signed the adoption agreement and getting the dog, that I quickly began calculating the absolute bare minimum of time, energy, and money I could get away with directing to his care. Imagine if I had conceived of Buster primarily as a resource drain to be efficiently dealt with and otherwise ignored. Imagine, too, that when Buster complained about this poor treatment in the ways that dogs do, that I lectured him about how well off he was compared to those other dogs. You know, the ones on that Sarah McLachlan commercial. Imagine, too, that while I'm offering Buster his skimpy quarter scoop of Walmart brand kibble, I myself am enjoying sumptuous feasts at the park club or in my Instagrammable suite. My colleague and I had this dog analogy in mind when we recently came up with what we're calling a modest proposal, as negotiations have dragged on, and as the administration has barely budged on its low offer. So our proposal is basically that we're willing to try to sell this low salary offer to our colleagues if the administration would agree to a couple of small things. One, the campus community would be consulted and heard before any additional commitments should be made to anti-union private attorneys or corporate consultants on which the university spends millions of dollars. Two, an employee and student-driven committee, including faculty financial experts, we have those in case, they don't get used very often by the university, but we've got them, would make a binding recommendation about the viability and overall value of Western's current Division I athletic situation. Roughly speaking, Division I would no longer be a sacred idol, according to which the rest of us were supposed to sort of happily submit. 3, there would be no new building construction unless and until Western's key employee groups were meaningfully consulted. The general principle here, a university is not primarily its buildings, but its people, and it's foolish to invest in the former while alienating, disrespecting, and starving the latter. 4, the administration must agree to begin investing irresponsibly hoarded reserves back into its core mission. That's those reserves they're so proud of. We call that profit hoarding, into its students and its frontline employees. 5, the salaries of the president, provost, and other elite administrators would be slashed. Further, if any of these elite administrators needs a new laptop, travel to other WMU campuses or other basic work tools, they'll have to pay out of pocket and also be subjected to gaslighty lectures about how greedy they are, about how the SRM budget model works. It's so complicated, okay? And one of my favorite gaslighty tropes, the difference between base funding and one-time dollars, all right? Budget talk, right? Because we don't understand that stuff because it's not like we're critical thinkers or anything. And we also propose that the administration give up the tired excuse that our unique teaching-centered, research-focused, diverse, and inclusive university should gauge its goals and progress on what everyone else is doing. I mean, how often have we heard recently that WMU is doing just fine by its employees because there are universities with salaries that are even lower than ours, right? Not only are such administrative claims frequently false or misleading, it's also just embarrassing when our leaders boast about how our university aspires to be squarely mediocre. And it's super demoralizing that on top of that, there's this constant reminder, whether it's about salary or working conditions or following the contract and labor law, that this administration is utterly determined to see how little it can possibly get away with doing on our behalf. The administration's aim may not be to outright kill the dog, but over time they have been slowly starving it to death. Thank you very much. By the way, against the rules, so if anyone wants to see pictures of my dog, awesome. All right?
Speaker is David Benek.
Honorable trustees, thank you for the opportunity to bring my concerns to your attention. I'm worried about WMU's future, as are many faculty, staff, and students. WMU is in danger of losing the qualities that produce memorable and meaningful experiences that graduates treasure for the rest of their lives, and that create the sustainable foundation we need to remain relevant for another 121 years. This is a recent trend that has causes. The administration has pleaded poverty and scapegoated the faculty and instructors who provide the education that justifies WMU's existence, while overpaying administrators and engaging in a frenzy of demolition and construction. Faculty exploring the cutting edges of their fields and delivering the highest quality education are rewarded with reduced research funding and salaries that fall behind inflation and those of colleagues at similar institutions. When President Montgomery's anti-labor stance and dismissal of shared governance resulted in a faculty vote of no confidence the first time in 2021, the Board of Trustees rewarded him with a raise. Other decisions continue to deprioritize learning in the campus community. The design of our newest instructional building with a dance studio directly above classrooms significantly undermines student success. Silver lining of having to regularly halt my class due to the wildly swaying projector screen and the assorted thuds, bumps, and bangs that made conversation impossible was that students bonded over the shared hardship. This lack of concern for a campus community is reflected in the plan to make hockey games less accessible to students by moving them off campus and paying to use a private venue rather than our storied on-campus facility. The result is that educators, students, staff, the surrounding community, and potential future Broncos can easily see that WMU does not prioritize learning. I ask for your help in rejuvenating the university and creating a collaborative atmosphere that emphasizes high-quality education and the lifelong success of our students. The board can begin with a pledge and actions to respect labor with good faith negotiations and compensation that reflects the core value of educators and staff to the mission and success of the university. We can close the divide between faculty and administrators by embracing shared governance in word and deed. And please, prioritize the educational mission of our institution over flashy amenities and entertainment. We're not here to provide bread and circuses. We're here to provide an education. I ask you to help make WMU a university that attracts the best job candidates, retains a committed and productive workforce, and imbues students with pride in their alma mater. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, Paul Clements.
Good afternoon, Chair Edgerton, members of the board, President Montgomery. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a professor of political science here at Western. I love Western. I love teaching political science. So I want to give a few statistics from our last contract and from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Our last across-the-board raise for 2021 to 2022 was 2%, whereas the Consumer Price Index reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics was 4.7%, resulting in a 2.7% loss of value. In the next year, 2022-23, the across-the-board base increase was 2%, whereas the CPI inflation increase was 8%, resulting in a loss of 6%. In 23 to 24, the across-the-board base raise was 2%, and the CPI increase was 4.1%. Now, these are academic years versus calendar years, but I don't think it really makes much of a difference. What we get overall is, over the last 3 years, a 10.8% decline in the real value of our compensation compared to 2020 to 2021. And this year, inflation is already running at above 3%. So when you offer 3.2%, we just lost 10.8%, I think you can appreciate why that doesn't really seem fair. Thank you.
Paul, thank you. Next, Andrew Heinlich.
In an excoriating takedown of the Observer columnist Will Hutton, Oliver Eagleton writes that there remains no distinction between enough profit given the risk and maximum profit. Corporations will always conjure up a looming catastrophe that justifies their accumulation of capital. What this redounds to, Eagleton continues, is a condition of socializing losses while hoarding gains. Though Eagleton's focus is on UK public-private partnerships, his description is immediately recognizable in the outlook of WMU's administration, an argument I frequently heard as the chief negotiator for the WMU AAUP. In 2023, WMU reported 9.5 months of total reserves. A figure, by our analysis conducted by Dr. Howard Buncis, is over 3 times in excess of what is considered solid. The administration's own claims of accountancy standards call for 6 months of reserves. Since 2016, reserves have increased a whopping 92%, while operating expenses have actually declined $30.8 million. At the same time, the purchasing power of faculty has declined between 15% for full professors and 13.1% for associates. Socializing losses while hoarding gains, indeed. While its bankrolls balloon, Western's compensation offered to faculty remains stingy, insufficient to catch up on the impact of the cost of living. Faculty report the inability to save for retirement, choosing between prescriptions and groceries, torn between saving for their children's education or funding the research necessary to gain tenure. Western references unspecified moments of past scarcity, irrelevant given their nearly $500 million in reserves, and warn of projected enrollment catastrophes that are years from arriving, all the while taking victory laps about increased enrollment and record level retention rates. Though it seemingly lacks the resources to fairly compensate its faculty, Western finds the money to pay corporate law firms and HR consultants, including $2.8 million for McKinsey & Co., has millions of dollars to make Instagram-worthy luxury boxes for its president. Why isn't that money being used to support its core educational mission? As Western paints a picture of its finances, it has lost all sense of a view from below, as E.P. Thompson would call it. This view focuses on the learning conditions of our working class students who deserve to have a quality education, studying with faculty conducting path-breaking scholarship. It acknowledges a scarcity that almost all of us as Western employees experience daily. It remembers that this is a public institution of higher education, not a hedge fund. As trustees, if we are to simply place our public trust in you, then it is high time that you demand the administration return to the bargaining table, ready to negotiate a fair and robust salary that ensures the real well-being of Western rather than its bankrolls. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, Emily Hauptmann.
As several speakers have already done, I want to speak about Western's disinvestment in its core academic mission. Sadly, there are many chapters to this story. The one that I want to focus on concerns WMU's graduate programs, programs that I believe are being neglected and starved of resources. Let me sketch out how this has played out in the political science department, the department I've taught in for 28 years. Low rates of pay for graduate student instructors make attracting new students to our program difficult. Also, my department has fewer stipends to offer each year, making it impossible to add more than a few new students each year. Finally, grad level courses the offerings at the grad level are meager, and they vary little. Students often find themselves in a position where there's nothing for them left to take besides the courses they are already enrolled in. This is a college-wide problem in the College of Arts and Sciences, so taking courses in another department is a rapidly vanishing option. Given these conditions, it's not surprising that just last week, one of our best PhD students worried out loud whether they would be able to finish their degree before our program collapses. Let me now connect what I've just summarized to what's at stake in the current negotiations between our AAUP chapter and the administration. What's on the table is not just about more money for faculty. It's about the university expressing its support for our core academic mission. And one central part of that mission, I believe, is educating the next generation of university and college professors. When the university does not make consistent, strong investments in its faculty, everything we do suffers. With respect to graduate educations, grad programs cannot remain vital without new faculty to update and revise them, and without incentives for faculty to develop and offer new grad courses. We can't do the essential work of educating the next generation of college and university professors when our numbers keep shrinking, when the university cuts back on funds to support research and conference travel, and adopts a budget model with strong disincentives to offer graduate courses. If the university does not change course in these areas, many grad programs that are not grant funded or supported by business will simply die of neglect. Our faculty who came to this university expecting to be part of such a program
Anna,
will have to
conclude.
go elsewhere. This university is not starved for resources, and it can recommit its commitment to this core academic vision by taking a first step towards taking up the AAUP's offer in these negotiations. Thank you.
Emily, thank you. Next, Anna Popkova.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Anna Popkova. I'm an associate professor in the School of Communication, College of Arts and Sciences. I teach courses and do research on strategic communication, public relations, and public and advocacy communication. And in my classes and in my other engagements with my students, because I do a lot of the outside of the classroom mentoring and engage students with my research, we talk a lot about how employees are the most important public for any organization wishing to maintain long-term success and realize its mission. We often talk about Western, too, and those are fascinating conversations, I'll tell you that, because students are not blind and they can see things. They do see things. And so what I want to talk about today is value alignment, because at this university, we're all in this together. We're all working toward a common mission, and students are at the core of that mission. And what our leadership does, what we do, faculty, staff, part-time instructors, graduate assistants, and our students, we're all doing this together. So in the area that I have expertise in, and I teach and do research and serve the university and the community, I teach my students that being a successful professional, a community leader, a global citizen, and just a decent human, you have to, or one needs to, respect others, listen to them with empathy and care, value and reward people in ways that are meaningful to them, and embrace feedback, especially critical feedback. Now, I know this as someone who teaches, and I think a lot of my colleagues would agree, that effective teaching and learning happens not when you just preach, right, these values. You have to model them. So I strive very hard to model these values in the classroom. I respect my students, I listen to them with empathy and care, I reward them in ways that are meaningful to them, and I invite and embrace their feedback. And that's the secret sauce for those record-breaking retention rates. Those interactions and those relationships in the classroom. Now, if you ask me, a faculty member who still gets goosebumps when I talk about teaching after like 12 plus years of teaching, what I need as an employee of this university to feel safe, supported, productive, and trusting so that we can serve our students well, do our best work, and achieve our common vision. I would say the same things. I want to feel respected. I want to feel listened to with care and empathy. I want to be able to give feedback to my leadership without worrying about my promotion and tenure and professional development. And I want to be rewarded and valued in ways that are meaningful to me, not through gratitude grams. You guys remember those? So alignment of values matters, conclude. And that's what I wanted to reinforce today with my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Next, Sarah Ruggles. Sarah here. Okay, next, Patrick Hanlon.
Hello. I am my department's AUP and Faculty Senate rep, but my words today are mine. Robert French was a University of Michigan economist, a tenured professor, departmental chair, an advisor to the Eisenhower administration, a board member of historically black Dillard University, and he was my step-grandfather. I thought of him as my grandfather. From an early age, I was regularly, and I mean regularly, front row seat to, the way I wrote it here was world-class pragmatic economic analysis as a child in the diner with him. And President Montgomery, I've seen you the past few years, and when I do, I can't help but think about him, and that comes with a great deal of fondness and an admiration and respect for the kinds of decisions you all have to make. Later in my career, as it developed around organizational change management, I'd be around people who helped me to realize that I had an example in my life of somebody thinking on the level of the organization and thinking on the level of complex systems and a very weighty and meaningful decisions that impacted a lot of lives. So I appreciate your positions and the weight you carry. That said, as a person within this organization, from my perspective, I'm worried that your process in these negotiations is really alienating some of your best people. You mentioned the demographic cliff today. We're facing it. Potentially a process in all of higher education of consolidation. We have to evolve. You're going to need your best people to do that. Your best people have options. Right now, the things you're putting forward are saying, you're not, imagine this, you're not worth what you were 5 years ago. You're not. We're not going to try to even approach what inflation means to your life. Here's the offer, take it, leave it, what are you going to do? That's what it sounds like from my position within this organization. Now, we need our best people. They have options. We want the same thing that we want for our staff, that we want for the people around us in our community. And we have a responsibility to fight for it. We want it for our students when they leave here, and we want them to fight for it, because it's one of the things that makes our country great, I think. So, this is my dream, daydream. I doubt it'll happen. Tell the lawyer to stay in Detroit.
Please conclude.
Pick a day, tell the lawyer to stay in Detroit. Come up with a real offer that says, you want to work together. Take until June to build some bridges that change the dynamic of the conversation and the tone as we head into 2 years from now, when, yes, it won't be yours, but we can change the tone and work together. It's not too late.
Thank you, Patrick. Next, Irene Kivinen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Irene Kivinen, and I'm an officer in the Professional Instructors Organization, or the PIO, which is the union of part-time faculty at Western Michigan University. I'm here today because we, the PIO, stand in solidarity with our colleagues in the AAUP and demand that WMU stop dragging their negotiations on for months. We support fair pay for the teachers at this teaching institution. From our perspective, it seems that bonuses, administrative salaries, and buildings are the priority here at Western. Why are the instructors last? Why is there no interest from those that control WMU's purse strings to make sure that the employees can receive the same relative rewards being handed out to themselves? Each of the last 2 summers, the campus of WMU has been the location of negotiations between administrators and teaching unions like the AAUP and PIO. But these negotiations are only due to the union's generous agreement to freeze instructor wages during the 2020 pandemic. It was prudent to be cautious, we will admit that, but WMU has never faced any real financial difficulty in the last 20 years, including during the pandemic. So where is the reward for our patience? Recently, in fact, at the start of this very meeting, WMU has publicly bragged about increased enrollment, retention, and state funding. But when it comes time for the instructors to share in those successes, suddenly all of the money is gone. How many in this very room right now know that this is wrong but are choosing to stay silent? How many in this room know that hoarding the resources away from the highly educated state employees that make this university run is wrong? We have a priorities problem. You make us feel as though we are standing in your way. You make us feel like our own hard work is not deserving of the rewards of WMU's successes. I can only speak for PIO, but you fought us for 5 months over what is a fraction of 1% of the total annual budget of WMU. I believe this is why our members, AAUP members, and TAU's members have voted for no confidence, because we have no faith that we will be treated fairly. We just got out of the negotiating room a little over 10 months ago, and we will go back to the negotiating table in 9 months. WMU has shown a pattern of behavior, a disregard for the well-being of its employees. We are begging you to change and to stop pulling up the ladder on us. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Next, Jacinda Swanson.
I'm not here to speak about the union, but I am so proud of all my union colleagues here. Thank you. My name is Jacinda Swanson. I've recently retired as associate professor in the Department of Political Science. I'm here to speak again in wholehearted support of our students' demands for a strongly worded and specific ceasefire resolution and for financial transparency from Western admin. Because most of my close family is Jewish, I believe I have a particular responsibility to speak out against Israel's occupation, war crimes, and injustices. Its genocide of Palestinians does not make my family safer. Palestinian safety and Jewish safety are intertwined and dependent upon each other. In a 2021 email to the campus condemning anti-Asian hate crimes during the early days of the pandemic, President Montgomery stated, "We stand united in rejecting discrimination and harassment of any kind for any people." He then quoted Martin Luther King Jr., "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Do Palestinians being killed by US-paid bombs not count as people? For months, the majority of people in the United States have wanted a ceasefire and an arms embargo, but our federal elected officials keep ignoring and sending billions of our tax dollars and weapons to kill women, children, aid workers, reporters, and healthcare workers. International relations experts and even Israeli military leaders themselves publicly admit that Israel could not continue its assault on Gaza without US weapons and funding. Why is Western Michigan silent in the face of these horrors? In 1983, Western divested from companies doing business in apartheid South Africa. In 1988, it was one of the first universities in the United States to award an honorary degree to Nelson Mandela while he was still in prison. Western is clearly capable of being on the right side of history. If we want a democracy that actually represents the will of the people, if we want our government to respect international law and human rights, if we want the US government to follow its own laws that prohibit sending weapons to countries violating international law, we must all speak out and do whatever we can to stop this genocide. Like the national AAUP and many US labor unions, and we're in a labor state, Western must call for an immediate ceasefire. Never again means never again for anyone.
Thank you, Jacinda. Next, Marissa Wagner. So that takes more than an hour arrangement, so unfortunately she wasn't able to attend, so we'll have to move on beyond her. Yeah, thank you. Understandable, yeah. Sorry, it's required by 5 o'clock to make arrangements to address the board. Charlie DeGraves.
I want to put it right here. I don't know if it's gonna work though. We'll see. Yeah, this will work. Nah, can you hold it? Ooh, my timer's already started. Dang, getting harsh on me. Okay. So I guess I'm a little offended. At the start of this meeting, there was a lot of talk about how Western is so strapped for cash or something. We just can't afford, and we just need so many more students. It's the students' problem. There's not enough of us or something. And so we can't afford to pay professors fair wages here. We also we also can't afford to divest from weapons manufacturers that are directly contributing to the genocide in Palestine, like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. But we can somehow afford to give undeserved raises to our administration, who already have extremely high salaries. We can already spend millions of dollars on constructing new facilities, et cetera, right? So I'm a little confused by that. So I think really what WMU is doing here is really just contributing. They're being complicit in the suffering of our professors, our students, and the ongoing colonial projects around the world, such as the genocide in Palestine, right? So universities are supposed to be centers of innovation, positive change, moral social justice movements. We're ahead of the curve. We're, creating substantive change for society. But through their complicity in these processes, WMU is blatantly rejecting these principles. They refuse to divest from weapons manufacturers supporting the genocide. They refuse to sponsor Palestinian students to come to Western. They refuse to even release a statement stating strong support for the Palestinian people in condemnation of the apartheid and genocidal Israeli government. WMU administration also refuses to substantially commit themselves to decolonizing here at home. Local indigenous nations like the Pokagon Potawatomi are still suffering from the remnants of a genocide committed by the US government. They are the true owners of the land our university is built on and have many valuable knowledge systems that will help WMU continue to succeed. Yet Western administration refuses to go beyond empty platitudes like land acknowledgement statements that have no real impact for indigenous people here in Michigan. If WMU is truly inclusive, cutting edge, innovative, and supportive, it will stand up against genocide. It will stand up for students and professors. And it will stand up for and partner with all indigenous peoples and historically marginalized groups everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Next, Olivia Grease.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm a second-year master's student here at WMU studying social work policy, and I'm here to talk about this university's response to the genocide in Palestine. By the most conservative estimates, and likely a severe underestimate, over 42,000 Palestinians have been murdered by the Israeli occupation force, including tens of thousands of children, and nearly 2 million Palestinians have been displaced. And as of recently, Israel is now attacking Lebanon using the same rhetoric and lies of targeting Hamas and Hezbollah to manufacture consent for this genocide. If Israel is really targeting Hamas and Hezbollah, why are they indiscriminately bombing and blowing up pagers in civilian areas, targeting aid trucks and strategically shutting down news sources, internet access, and killing journalists? How is this anything but an extreme violation of human rights and international law? The UN has brought forward more than 10 resolutions pertaining to this crisis since 2016. All of these resolutions echo the same concerns: protection of civilians in Palestine in accordance with international law, full and immediate ceasefire, and demands for Israel to end their violence against innocent civilians. The United States has has voted no or abstained on all of these resolutions except the most recent three-phase ceasefire deal, which was passed on June 10th. It's been over 3 months since then. The United States continues to support the IOF in their incessant violence. In fact, on August 13th, the Department of State approved a $20 billion weapons package sale to Israel. Clearly, the U.S. does not actually care to enforce a ceasefire. So what can Western do about this? The answer is simple. It's past time for sanctions on Israel. This administration has a responsibility to ensure that Western is not contributing to this genocide. We're asking for financial transparency and for you to adopt the ceasefire resolution proposed by the WMU Divestment Coalition this summer. I've heard the argument that WMU shouldn't have to comment on global conflicts and should maintain institutional neutrality, and I strongly disagree with this. Not only is it inherently not neutral for WMU to potentially have money invested in Israel, but more importantly, universities have been historically significant and instrumental in changing the tide on global crises. As Jacinda mentioned, this university divested from South Africa in the 80s, was one of the first to award Nelson Mandela an honorary degree. WMU's administration has carried out impactful actions in the past, and we're in a position to set a precedent and be among the first institutions to have fully divested from Israel. The best time to have supported this cause was a long time ago, and the second best time is right now. Please do the right thing, adopt the ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Next, Don Cooney.
Good afternoon, President Montgomery, members of the board. I want to begin by expressing my solidarity with my brothers and sisters in their struggle for the just contract they deserve. Most of my comments today are going to be on Gaza. Since the last time we met, the horror continues. Schools are obliterated, hospitals are destroyed, children are torn limb from limb. These atrocities are committed with U.S. bombs paid for by U.S. taxes. This university does wonderful things. We impart knowledge. We teach skills. But the most important thing we could do would be to teach values. Camus, the great writer and moralist, said one time, "In a world of victims and executioners, it is the responsibility of the thinking person not to be on the side of the executioners." Silence in the face of these atrocities puts us on the side of the executioners. You speak for this university. We urge you to get us out of that position. We urge you to call for a ceasefire. We urge you to look at your investments. And if we are investing in any companies which are supplying the weapons that are used to kill these innocent people, to divest from them. When we divested from South Africa, when we broke all ties from South Africa in 1983, we were the 6th university in the country to do that. We set a standard, we set a model, we encouraged, and in the end, 112 universities broke the ties with South Africa. It is time for us to stand up again. It is time for us to move away from the executioners, to stand on the side of the victims, to stand for human rights, to stand for the Palestinian people.
Thank you, Don. Our last speaker for today is Wesley Hennessy.
Hi, I came here to talk about our investments as well. I saw on the transparency page we've got about $100 million in assets of which something that caught my eye was about 20 million in BlackRock. This company's been criticized for a long time about doing business with fossil fuel industries, big tech, and most notably military contractors. I think divestment, obviously, from these industries, it's not only a good image for Western. I think it would make a lot of headlines in local or maybe national news. It would just be a good idea. We shouldn't be doing business or making money from corporations who profit off of destroying our planet or making weapons or exploiting poor people to mine their resources. So I think because of those reasons, we do need to rearrange some of the assets that we carry in those stock portfolios. Now, if we really can't afford to do that, if that would make us, we wouldn't be able to make any money off of doing that, and we had to keep that 20 million in BlackRock or $100 million worth of, well, not 100 million, but still 20 million in BlackRock, which is done fossil fuel, big tech, and military contractors. If it's really not possible to divest from that, I think we could take some of that money, even if 100 million made a $3 million yield, which is 3% annually, which is really pretty low for a $100 million investment. Take that $3 million, and you could sponsor some Palestinian students. Mr. Montgomery, you mentioned closing gaps in marginalized communities earlier, and really they are the most marginalized community. For 75 years, they've been under military occupation, and their occupiers seek nothing but to destroy them and wipe them off of the face of the planet. So I think taking some of that money and sponsoring our students would be a really good way to make an impact on the world, as well as obviously we could take some of that money and give our teachers some benefits as well. They've been negotiating. And well, 25 seconds left. I guess that's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Wesley. Chair Edgerton, that concludes general comments.
Thank you. Thank you all who spoke and attended today's meeting. Does any trustee have any further comment? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. No one? Yeah, John.
I just want to say I appreciate all the comments that were heard today, and I hope we can take the spirit of them moving forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Motion to adjourn? Anyone? Motion? Oh, Lynn moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you all very much. Thanks everyone for attendance, especially everyone that had to remain standing. So thank you very much. We do appreciate it.